it's more about communication instead of just trying to create a really pretty image. Especially with this kind of media of ink, the more you try to control it, the more it bites you.
I think you burn out if you're just thinking about the end results.
Oh yeah.
Is it really a mistake if it was a creative opportunity to turn it into something else?
It's jazz, man. Do you want us to introduce ourselves to the camera?
Yeah, this is Peter Hahn.
Yeah, cool. How's it going, you guys? Peter here.
Hello, people of the internet. We're here at Monsterpalooza as well. And we're going to draw and hopefully something come out of it, but it's mostly about having fun when you draw.
Absolutely.
If you're just thinking about the result, then it's the journey as always.
So what are you using?
I'm using a Pentel brush pen.
Okay, I brought this, I have a collection of brushes here,
Oh yeah, I'll show them.
stuff like this. And I'll be using a bottle of ink. This is just the carbon ink. I'm gonna do it for because it's more permanent. So any like watercolor stuff I use, it's great for that.
Do you need some water as well?
No,
We can get
I'm
like
good.
a cup of water.
So I use my saliva.
Let's see.
How do you feel when you start?
I just sometimes just draw a line and I'll see what it becomes, but usually I start with a mannequinization. So for instance,
And from this, do you like to start from the back and work forward, or do you like to go forward and go back?
I always like to start from the front and then I go back.
Oh, interesting.
Because then if I start in the front, then I can overlap that with stuff in the back. What are you thinking about when you first put that first line? Okay.
Scale and size. Once I establish the scale, then I consider the directions of the angles, perspectives. Obviously very intuitively. I'll distort, warp as much as I need to. Sometimes I play it a little bit safe. A lot of times I'll also try to push it if I can. In these situations, I think it's more about context, making sure the clarity is there.
Yeah.
If it doesn't necessarily have the extreme sort of levels of camera or lens, it's okay. To me, it's more about communication instead of just trying to create a really pretty image.
Well, yeah, if you're just concerned about it being pretty, then you're going to make more mistakes.
Yeah, more than likely.
In my case, at
Yeah,
least.
yeah.
You always teach and make these really nice drawings while talking. I'm not as good at talking and drawing at the same time.
But you've been working on it, huh?
Trying to. So is that something you naturally had always?
No,
drawing?
no.
Or it's
Well, I mean, in terms of my ability to speak and draw, no, I don't think it was a very natural skill. It was something I built over time. Decades of teaching, obviously, was a big part of it. So it was really when I began to teach is where I started to strengthen that skill set. But as a student, I really did not like drawing in front of people. I didn't like talking in front of people. I was a very introverted individual. It's not a weakness.
interesting.
It was just more of a personal, sort of natural, sort of inclination that I had. And I didn't fight it, but I knew that I felt like I felt like I was missing stuff because I wasn't putting myself out there as much. When the teaching opportunity came, I felt like that was really my chance to really get out there, but also to uphold my legacy of my mentor. Because after he passed away is when I got my teaching opportunities. His name was Norm Sherman at Art Center. So naturally, I'm still very much introverted, but I'm also able to turn myself on.
I usually draw way faster when I'm here. At work, I'm doing ink drawings as well, but I take my time and I'm just here. It feels like, there people expect to see something.
I'm the same way because I draw very quickly. I think very quickly. But the thing is, I'm really trying to shift that mindset in terms of how I draw live because I feel very much the same way that you do. You're in this position to perform in front of others online or in person.
Yeah.
And you have this inclination to like go because you don't want to stall and you want to make sure that people are enjoying themselves. But also your brain's working so quickly that you can't really stop yourself. You get that slight nervousy switch in a way.
It's like healthy stress.
In a way, I'm actually trying to get away from this, where I'm trying to slow down. The brain wants to move so quickly, but I'm now trying to force myself to be like, just take the moment, embrace that sort of like presence. And a lot of it was presented to me as a mentality from the managers at Superani, actually.
Okay.
Where, again, anytime I draw live like this, it's about go, 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 go. But now it's about slow it down, real slow.
The faster you are, the more mistakes you'll make, or it's not about
it's not the
mistakes,
mistake making. It's more about the presence of the line, that you're actively being aware of every stroke you put down. Because there are times when I would just go blind because it becomes automated where I'm thinking about what I'm talking about, speaking to you or speaking to other people.
Sure.
My hand is just like moving. And it falls back into the training where it's the muscle memory that takes over. But the problem with that approach is that it doesn't allow for adaptation. It doesn't allow for questioning different approaches, mentality. It just falls back into your training of what you do normally. And so you regurgitate the same thing over and over again. Same kind of line, same level of detail, you push things. I recognize that. So these days I'm trying to be much, much more calm, breathe through it, slow your actions. And it's not about trying to finish it as fast as possible. I held that as a badge of honor at the beginning. Like, look how fast I can go. But that was my initial thought about my next growth or my next plateau of level. I found out quickly that wasn't my path.
It's about slowing down.
It's about slowing down. But it's hard to fight because the natural inclination is to move, to get it done. Because again, there is that slight nervousness.
which can help sometimes to push, else you're overthinking sometimes.
Yes.
So there's like an up and a downside to that.
There is, absolutely. Yeah, so I can't fight that natural tendency to like just put lines down automatically, but again, it's like there are times in which I just have to like stop for a moment, take it in, breathe, see what you'll do next. That's why I asked you that question in the very beginning.
What am I thinking about?
Yeah, what do you think about how do you feel?
Every time I just try drawing something, and then if it isn't what I wanted to, then I'll try to make something else out of it as much as I can, because with ink there's not that much wiggle room. For instance, if I don't want to draw that ground plane, and I can just make a panther here or something, and then you hope that you draw that panther well enough.
Do you think most of that perspective, the fisheye warp lens, is really coming from your ground plane, the surrounding environment, or are you really trying to actively put it into your figure too?
I'm not trying to put it into the figure too much, because if the context around it becomes fisheye, then usually, unless the figure I want it to be that distorted.
Yeah.
But usually when I draw like this, I just put the context around it afterwards.
Interesting.
Like here, for example, like this line was completely wrong, and now I'm trying to make something out of it.
Yeah, that sort of adaptation, mistake making that you can integrate back into the image is something that I feel like is a learned skill over time naturally. It's not something you can really learn. It's just one of those intuitive things you recognize that, hey, that can be readapted here in this situation.
Like now it's a stick, and it's a hand that holds this stick, and I don't know what is going to happen with this. I really don't know.
That's the way it works for me too. That sort of mistake making happens all the time to me. The image is never perfect, but the idea of being able to adapt to the situation allows you to continue to move forward and draw. But when you're younger, I feel like a lot of students see that mistake and they want to start over because they don't know what to do with it.
What do you think of the phrase, your mistakes become your style?
Yeah.
Like a lot of
it works that way, yeah.
Because if you never make mistakes, then you can never find if there's an interesting way of drawing something.
For sure. Once you get to a certain point in the sketch, do you feel that calm come over?
When there's something that is like, okay, this doesn't completely suck. Okay, I proved to myself or to people around me I can draw something.
Interesting.
How about for yourself? Like,
yeah.
When do you get to that calmness when you're doing this?
Probably after like the first 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. After a couple of strokes, like kind of the question you asked me about, where do you kind of start? Do you build a mannequin or something like that? And I put a couple of strokes down for scale. And once I establish that scale in kind of a direction of angle, right then and there, everything just kind of like settles and everything kind of slows down.
Apparently, this is becoming a character with many arms in many directions.
It's sort of a collaborative, it's sort of sketching. How long have you been doing it now?
This sort of sketching?
Yeah.
I trained in animation, and I think coming from an animation background, there was always a lot of drawing involved.
Yeah.
I think like this, I always enjoyed people that draw an entire environment and tell a story.
Yeah.
I never was a fan of, but there's nothing wrong with that, floating heads in a sketchbook.
Sure.
But I never really liked that for myself.
Gotcha.
I just really enjoyed just drawing perspective mainly. I think my first classes were architecture classes.
Oh, is that right?
And I really enjoyed drawing a perspective in that sense. It was not fisheye, it was a 3-point perspective.
Okay.
My teacher allowed me to draw spaceships because that to me was more interesting than drawing houses. But as she said, as long as you're studying perspective, I don't care what you draw. So I really appreciate that she was a little
cool.
bit forgiving with my subjects.
Where'd you go to school again?
In Belgium, in
Belgium.
And then afterwards, I studied at Gobelin in Paris a little bit, animation. And you studied, like you said before, at Art Center.
At Art Center, yeah.
What was your first job out of school, actually?
So when I graduated, I was hoping to work in animation, but that didn't work out. So I was jobless for about 6 months, and then by chance, this company saw my work. I had a blog spot at the time, and this is like 2005.
Okay, yeah.
I had no website, there was no Instagram, it was all on Blogspot. And it was a company in Burbank called Technicolor, and they asked me to come join for a contract job doing vehicle design for a game. But that was my first job, but they found me by chance, basically.
Through the blog?
Yeah.
My first job was theme park design, actually.
Park?
No, totally not
That's
animation.
cool.
For Angry Birds, if you
No, I
remember
like
what
that.
that
That's
is.
great.
Yeah, I just accepted it because I wanted to prove to my parents that you can make money with this. When was the last time that you taught at art? So you taught there for a while as well, right?
Taught there for over a decade, and COVID hit and everything shut down. I didn't go back because around that time in January 2020, I decided to start my own school online. That was mainly because I was doing so much international promotional work, shows like Comic Cons and stuff like that.
With yourself and then later Super Honey.
Yeah, and so because of that, I wanted more control of my schedule. So I decided to start my own school with an eventual like gradual shift away from those schools like Art Center in different places. But when COVID hit, basically it forced my hand, and I left everything. CDA, brainstorms, CGMA I hold a little bit, but Art Center I was planning to hold on to as a classroom, but then they never called me back because they went to an online sort of conversion.
Art Center?
Yeah, they went online for about a year.
Oh yeah, for during COVID.
Yeah, during COVID. I didn't want to teach online with them. I never looked back from there.
The appeal to teach at Art Center is that you have community, and we were talking about that maybe off camera earlier. There's something about talking with the model, meeting the students in person, seeing them, seeing their struggles, and remembering how you were in their position, like empathy, and there's always something to be learned from everyone. Like I learned a lot from my students actually as well. Like when they would draw the leg in a certain way, I was like, oh, that's interesting actually. When you're teaching, it's not just you being a teacher, you also learn a lot from and I'm learning all the time. I'm learning right now looking at you draw. It's pretty amazing.
So how much do you think about controlling information on a subject where you try to edit out as much surface detail as you can?
I try to not. I used to shade so much in my sketches, hatching everything, and after a while I was like, these take for bleeping ever to do. So then I tried to, as a challenge for myself, try to explain as much form as possible.
Exactly.
Without shading that much, without the need to shade. And I always respect people that can show a lot of form without having to not over render, but render with the least amount as possible.
Yes.
For me, it's more like there's a time and a place for it.
So I was like, okay.
If there are certain pieces that require that, and the intention of mine, I'll make a time. In many situations, if it's like a study, or if it's more like something like this for the experience of something, very different. I'll try to be more mindful about how much information I try to place in.
The topic of line weights as well. How do you see that?
So I'll explain it like this. For me, I think line is a lot like music. And you mentioned the idea of like jazz.
Yeah, improvisational aspect.
Improvisational stuff is one thing in terms of mentality, but in terms of the physical line, I think of it like notes in the music. And with music, you can have a single monotone. But with line also, you can have a single monoline. And that's fine. But I want a symphony of sounds. So we can have thin line, thick and thin. We can have double lines, triple lines, single line. And that can also go into rhythms. Beat of 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can also stroke 2, 3, 1, 2. So I try to vary up my strokes as much as possible. So it's not a singular same sort of stroke over and over and over again, which ends up being very sort of flat.
My instinct always thinks way in the foreground, I make the line thicker, but I always draw everything thinly to start, and then I can come afterwards in, okay, this contour line could be a little bit thicker. It's not something that I can do from the bat. I ease into it. Plus, if I make a mistake, that line is thin, because if I go in, like this hand is closest to us, so I can probably go around it a little bit more.
So in terms of like proximity of distance, for sure, I'll think about, what's closest to me. I might push a bit heavier. Things a bit further back, I might go a lot lighter.
But if you make the lines everywhere too fat, then it becomes flat. So you gotta I had that happen to me a couple of times. Like, oh damn, I wish I didn't do that.
Do you try to keep a lot of your images as like cohesive as possible, like the subject matter is all connected, or do you kind of sprinkle in like random stuff at times?
Sometimes random stuff. Always an animal. I love drawing.
Because everything about this is about conveying it optically, and as long as it works optically, then it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not about technical. It's about making sure that the image conveys that information as an illusion, so people can buy it. And so that's what matters the most.
There was a drummer that said, I really love this quote. That it's probably wrong, but it felt great to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
That's kind of interesting.
That's great.
And so a lot of this kind of stuff, students will ask about it, and I think, again, you can use technique like perspective and stuff like this, but the intuitive side of things is very much on feeling.
Maybe. I don't know.
And that part can only be done by just actively doing it over and over again. And you'll fail it a bunch of times, and it won't really work, but you start to acquire the sensitivity of how to manipulate the stuff optically more. And it becomes comfortable, familiar, that sort of thing. And then from there, you can kind of play around.
Is that something that people can learn through your art school? You said when you start out, you said scale.
Yeah.
Is that the first thing you also teach for someone that is willing to learn this?
We mostly talk about simplicity, shape, the forms, scaling, controlling sizing, where things are positioned. And a lot of the perspective is very much in the optical perspective. It's not so technical. Because a lot of of the students I also get are very much like even sometimes very beginners. And I can even still show them how to break things down at a very simplistic level without considering even the depth of perspective as much.
Still got to figure out what this is. I don't know what the hell he sold it.
Yeah, I was thinking of Van Helsing.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I don't know why I thought of that, but usually that's, for me, ideas in mind just pop up on the fly, on the moment. There's not like pre-planned. I don't have like a preemptive thought before I come in. Right when I see a blank canvas, my brain would just like present ideas to me. And it's all just that visual memory. It's all the nostalgia of things. And of course, I'll use a theme of the day based on the show. So I want to like vampires or monsters, and there's Van Helsing. So I'll give you one of my little tricks of what I do.
Please.
You use the terrain to convey the warp of perspective.
Yeah.
What I use is visual effects.
Ah.
So a lot of times I actually won't put the ground plane in there. I'll place in things like distortion of air, kicking up of dust, a lot of splatter effects. Visual effects actually convey that similar kind of information.
So you could even do like
Yep. And visual effects, in terms of what I go for, is defined by shape design. Here, everything is based on a shape silhouette.
oh, that's cool. How many classes do you teach every week actually?
Typically, I'm averaging about 4 classes. 2 of them are based on the class that people know me for, which is dynamic sketching. And then I also have rotation classes every session. And right now, we are running a wildlife class. It's one for the first time I'm doing. Even though I draw a lot of animals, I haven't done a wildlife class.
Yeah, you do. You're really good at animals. I'm surprised that this is your first animal class.
So we are running an animal drawing class at the moment, and I'm also doing an experience class based on pure feedback. So students will come in, work on personal projects, and I give them basically kind of like a mentorship guidance, but it's a group of people.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think mentorships, there's some people that argue against it. I learned the most when I had an anatomy mentor, like private tutoring almost.
Yeah, I wouldn't really even consider it a real mentorship. It's more like a unique experience of education where it's individual, but a true mentorship is something different to me.
What does that mean to you, if I may ask?
Well, you're building a real relationship with that person. You get to know them more than as just an instructor. Because when you're actually mentoring somebody, it's more than just about technique. It's about how to live, how to be a person, how you mature, how you grow. So my mentor from Art Center, Norm, it taught me how to draw, but what I learned more about was how to live.
Would you say mentorships are a little bit like therapy as well?
In a way, for sure. It's about maturity also, learning how to go through life and the difficult stages of, the transitions as you mature, and trying to discover yourself and find out who you are. And you might think a school or tech might give you that, but I think really it's about relationships and human connections, the people you surround yourself around.
That is the most important thing about a school to me. It's like meeting your peers, having a friendly competition,
Definitely.
giving you deadlines, because I work well under deadlines. If my mom asks me, can you draw this card, it takes me forever. When she says, take your time, that's the most dangerous thing that you can tell me. But if you give me a deadline, I'll do it by the deadline.
But I mean, that's why I think that, online classes are great, but there is a downside to it, which is the lack of human contact. And so in-person schools, like universities, as expensive as they are, there still is value there.
That's the main advantage of still going to school over online.
And I get it. It's not affordable. It's not something everyone has an opportunity of based on location. But I think if you're able to plan for it, save for it, find some means of help, go there to get that sort of relationship, contact, discipline, network, and then leave. You don't need to graduate. The degree doesn't matter.
No, nobody ever asked for my degree.
Because if I started over, I would go to Art Center, but I wouldn't finish. I would go there for maybe a year, afford what I can, and then leave and go online.
Well, actually, I take that back. The U.S. government, for my visa, asked for my diploma.
As an international student,
Yes.
I think that matters. Yeah, that's different.
It helps get a visa if you have a master's or a bachelor.
Of course.
But when you're in Europe, as a European, I could advise just do the school. It costs nothing compared to here. Just do it, even if you don't want to. It's
For sure.
It's almost nothing. I have a lot of people from Europe. Like, should I go to art school? It's like, are you in Europe? How much is your school? 700 euros a year? Yes, just do it.
Yeah.
Here in the U.S., sometimes it can be staggering, but
It is. It's crazy.
you should still go. But like you said, you don't have to graduate.
Yeah.
If you're in Europe, yes, graduate.
Yes.
Nothing to lose. A lot of people are not going to be happy with me saying that.
So what's upcoming for you? Are you working on new books or projects?
I'm working on my
personal
second book,
things? You are?
which should come out somewhere at the end of this year.
Oh, great.
I promised them it would be finished this month, but it's probably going to be next.
Trust me, I'm in the same sort of boat. It's like I got books to work on, and they need to be done.
I need to. Oh, that's a cool one. I love that expression. And for you, what is there?
Oh yeah, there's always plenty of books to work on. I still have to finish the Dynamic Bible too. I want to release that by the end of this year if I can. I have a small little mini sketchbook art book that I'm releasing by hopefully in the summer as well. But that's all super Ronnie, so I just do the art, they publish it.
Everywhere I go, I see that book, your book, by Manic Sketching the Bible.
Yeah.
It's like the animator survival kit. I see it everywhere.
I mean, I'm glad it's gotten to that point where people recognize it for that, and it's still, I need to release more books to make it a collection because it is still at the basic levels, but I'm glad that people can recognize that it has some value still. With educational books, that's the great thing about them, is that they can last for a minute.
Yeah, how long has the first one been out?
Since like 2020, so a number of years now.
That's still pretty fresh in
Yeah.
a way. I remember the first one is like circles and line weight and
A lot of
that form.
exercises, yeah.
So what will the two sort of, if you can give
Into
a sneak
specific
peek?
subject matter, so applying those exercises into drawing things. The first book has subject matter as well too, but the second book continues that basically.
So you can find the Dynamic Bible at Edition Correct or Liber Distri.
Yes,
I'll put a
exactly.
link in the comments.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll carry over your block system.
Yeah, do it. It's just like a little bit more. You see how my stupid mistake at the start became a monster with many arms and a sight. It's maybe not the best monster I've ever drawn, but it is something.
It's cool, man.
I feel compelled to draw something more dynamic now. Let's do a quick one, which is more gestural. There's also an interesting, when you draw fast lines versus slow lines, do you actually think about that?
Oh,
The
yeah.
fast line is a little bit more...
In terms of the actual application within the exercises, I think a fast line, obviously creates a little bit more of an energy to it. There's a crispness of the line that I like. The slower line obviously gives you the attention of weight and distribution of it. In terms of how I begin, I think starting with a couple of quicker lines I do like to establish a bit of that gesture and movement and kind of slow it down from there.
These were much faster, but
Yeah.
suddenly there's still more animation to
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
If I can critique myself, these ones were a little bit more stiff in its sense, a little bit more. But you see, when I drew much faster, eventually the animator, which my teacher told me I should always draw like this, because maybe it was when I start out, like you're a little bit more careful, and
Yeah.
it's a little bit. But as you progress,
But the thing is, this sort of live drawing too, it's like some people ask, why don't I construct more? And why do I just go straight in? And do I construct? And the thing is, I construct all the time.
Yeah.
It's all based on circumstance of what I'm doing. In these sort of live drawings, if I know I'm limited on time, like
Yeah.
I may sort of like bypass some of the construction, not because I think it's better, but it's more about efficiency and making sure I also kind of like convey the information with that layer of detail without having all the conflict of construction. But the thing is, I do construct also. It's just that the amount of construction I'm doing is so minimal, people don't see it.
no, you do it in your head as well a lot.
That too. But their actual physical lines that are construction, it's just that to me, it's clear, but for the people, they think it's like a detail.
The detail. So if you add a little area of like, for instance, here, like a little area like that, then suddenly the people think it looks much more detailed, but the actual meat and bones is in the simple shapes and the
sure.
big forms. It's
Absolutely.
like all those details are actually, if nothing else, distracting in a way.
How much do you think about your overlaps, like one thing on top of another one?
Oh, like here with these blocks.
Yeah.
If I just finish that block, then that creates the most depth. That's the simplest way to create depth in a way, overlap. But
So
that's
even with
really
stuff like this, where you have a subject matter in front of another one, do
Yeah.
you try to pre-plan as much as you can, or do you like in the moment think of it, like I'm going to put that there in front of this one?
in the moment usually.
Yeah.
Or when I make a mistake,
Yeah.
it's like I'm gonna put something in front of that.
Yeah.
Actually, it's interesting. The Black Panther. I remember the late great Kim Young-ji, of course. I was in 2013 standing in Belgium at like a comic book festival, and he drew an arm, and it was actually a bad arm. He drew a bad arm. I couldn't believe it. Like, how is he gonna fix this? What is?
Yeah.
And he just did a huge black smudge over it,
Yeah.
and it turned into a Black Panther. Because I saw that arm, I was like, wait, then I was like, oh, you can hide mistakes with black shapes on top
absolutely.
of it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Not that he made much, but I saw him make a lot of mistakes. But then again, is it really a mistake if it was a creative opportunity to turn it into something else?
Goes back to that word again, it's jazz, man.
This way of drawing is, yeah. And it's so freeing and fun in a way to do. And it's hard to teach as well.
I think people now with social media, see this stuff constantly all the time. So there's going to be a huge influx of a lot of young students and people that are going to come out in the next 10 years that are going to be capable of doing this also, because what this purely is just mileage. It's just time. And the
Yeah.
more you do it, you just learn automatically. It's natural. And I tell people, it's like, you don't actually have to take a class to get better at drawing. If you just drew nonstop, hours a day, you're going to get better. The problem is you can also easily burn out. So taking a class gives you the understanding of how to be more efficient, formulaic methods to be able to actually learn faster. But naturally, you can get better on your own too.
I think you burn out if you're just thinking about the end results.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for me, it has always been I draw what I love and what motivates me in the moment.
Yeah.
I did study anatomy and stuff, but I always had time for myself to just have the sketchbook and draw some people that I love, my family, my dog.
Yes.
And drawing things that you love, you will not burn out of it because it's not about the drawing. It's about the feeling you get when you draw it. Or you can gift it to someone. That to me is, or you can make people laugh with a drawing if it's a funny drawing. So that to me is always the, prevented me from being burned out because you can use it as a party trick. I tell this story sometimes. I used to take my sketchbook with me still sometimes when I go out to a dance club. And it was the best.
Those guys.
It was the best way to talk to girls because you could just approach them even those who were 4 or 5.
So funny.
It's like, excuse me, could I draw a portrait of you? I'm an artist, here's my sketchbook.
When I was younger, how I did that was on my phone. I had my little stylus, and I would just draw people at like a club or a bar.
But then you can sort of, it's a conversation starter.
Absolutely. So I love doing that when I travel. You go to like cafes and stuff like this. You don't speak the language, but people understand the visual. Or if I'm trying to order something, I want a coffee, draw for them.
Picasso did that. He paid his bills at cafes by just, at the end of the day, you would just do a little doodle here that covers it.
So funny.
I also have another funny Picasso story. Like, he was already famous. He was at the beach, and a father asked his daughter, go to that man and ask him to do a drawing in your sketchbook. So that daughter comes back, and it's like, here's a drawing. It was on her back. I thought it was super clever.
Funny.
So now the father has to skin his daughter for the Picasso.
When do you feel like you know when you're done?
When the story has been told. It's like, it doesn't need to be a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I really like what you said with the VFX. That's kind of cool, to connect an image with VFX and stuff.
Yep. Here's my tip of the day. When I begin to noodle, that's when I feel like I'm done. It's like small little, that's when you have to stop because you start to overwork it. It's all about the big strokes first. But as soon as you get to like the small things, probably best to like, okay, probably not good to touch anymore.
It's not as dynamic as my tiger is just a little bit.
Well, I mean, you think about form so much, you know, and that's something I've seen in your work way back in the day. I think we had talked. It might have been at Livebox one year.
Yeah.
And you showed me your sketchbook. And the one thing I recognized about your stuff, even way back then, was that your sensibility of structure of form was really good. You understand that really well. And I think that obviously held through so much in the many years afterwards. And your ability to kind of freeform that and manipulate it and play with it has gotten better too. And
I appreciate that, yeah.
Yeah, and there was one thing that you used to do all the time where I thought you would hatch these lines throughout most of the images, and you've been able to actually organize that information a lot better as well.
You did give me a feedback a long time ago. I did a lot of cross-hatching, and you told me I wouldn't do that in the middle of the form, and I've never done it since, so thank you for that. My drawings look a little bit less noodly since then.
Because it neutralized the surface details because it all looked the same, but because now we can also differentiate between a rougher material, a smoother material, or whatever the case is. You're now focusing on more of the shape silhouette and the actual then value structure of that. So it really kind of like evolved from there. But because of your form sensibility, everything still feels very tangible and weighted to a degree. So it's great,
Oh, thank you. And yours are always the poses that you come up with. Especially, I love this one. I love here how the shoulder blade of the dog goes, and you feel it.
Absolutely.
And it feels sort of like a chaos control. And that's what I love about your stuff. It's really like you embrace the chaos and you control it, and it makes it so interesting.
You gotta throw paint on the wall sometimes and let it just drip the way it wants to. You can't force it. Especially with this kind of media of ink, the more you try to control it, the more it bites you. You gotta let it move the way it wants to sometimes.
It's a good quote to end it on.